Okay, so I was trying to decide what to do for this month. The theme is giving and receiving, and it conjures up thoughts of gift giving, the holidays. It's December, Christmas. I was recently traveling, and these freaking carolers were like following me around the airport, and it kind of made me really angry because I'm not actually that into Christmas and all the holiday cheer and stuff. So it all makes me a little bit bitter. So I'm just going to present to you guys on things that are bitter. Like coffee and chicory root and dandelion and orange peel, lemon rind, gentian, Brussels sprouts, radishes, so many amazing bitter things. What makes these things bitter? I'll tell you what bitter is not. It is not a freaking place on our tongue. This diagram is totally absurd. Do not believe any of the tongue taste diagrams. Our tongues are much more complex than that. They can sense a whole variety of flavors. In fact, we have receptors all through our body for detecting taste. And if there were a physical space assigned to bitter, it would be a hell of a lot bigger, because bitter, the receptors are coded for by 34 different genes. Other flavors, like sour and sweet and salty and umami, they only have like 3 to 5. So bitter is enormously complex. Why so complex? Because there are so many different plants. The plant kingdom is enormous. This is an example of a bitter plant, dandelion. You can use the leaves or the roots. We evolutionarily have these different senses for taste in order to recognize the chemical constituents of plants to get a sense of their nutritional value. This is a really amazing herbalist. His name is Guido Massé. A lot of what I learned from this is from his book, The Wild Medicine Solution. In this photo, he's pointing out the cyanogenic glycosides in the wild cherry plant, which smell marvelously of amaretto. It's amazing. If you're ever with a wild cherry plant, you should try it. This is a watermelon radish. It looks kind of sweet. It doesn't taste like watermelon. It tastes like a radish. And if you think about eating a radish, like a really radishy, bitter freaking radish, it's really bitter, and you might start to salivate, and your mouth starts to water, and you get all these different feelings, and that is activating your liver. It's energizing the the digestive processes to secrete enzymes in your liver, your pancreas, to secrete bile in your gallbladder. That's going to help to digest the fats of your food. Lots of different things to trigger your digestive system into action. And what's actually happening is your body is reacting to something that might be potentially poisonous. And some of this is good for us. We want a little bit of this. It's a theory called hormesis, a nonlinear benefit. A little bit is good, too much of it is bad. We don't want to kill ourselves with horribly bitter toxins. A really good example of this in history is Mithridates. He was the king of poison. And he made lots of different concoctions with bitter roots and of plants. He made these concoctions in order to strengthen his system against potential poison that maybe his enemies would poison him with. And he was really good at this, but when he wanted to, he also used really poisonous plants, like this one. This is Atropa belladonna, or deadly nightshade. He used this when he wanted to kill like his family members or himself or whomever. This is my friend Brett. He has a business called Conscious Cuisine, and he leads people on wild weed walks through their backyards or their gardens to show people what they can eat in order to give themselves a little bit of the bitter benefit. So not everything that's bitter is poisonous. You can eat a salad that's got radicchio and mustard greens and lots of different bitter leaves, and they're going to challenge your system a little bit in order to, cause your defensive mechanisms to get into gear and strengthen your system without actually hurting it. Chocolate is something that's really wonderfully bitter. If you've ever tasted chocolate without sugar, you know what I'm talking about. In certain countries where it's produced, you can get the pure chocolate paste, and it's really bitter. But here, most of our chocolate, like Hershey's, is loaded up with sugar. And so we don't really know what it tastes like. And because of that, kids aren't really into bitter things. A really good example of it is chocolate. If you give them natural, unsweetened chocolate, they're like, what the heck is this? This is not chocolate. Not going to say that this is totally responsible for a lot of the digestive problems in today's society, but it's certainly a contributing factor. But there are some people who are trying to bring back bitter, like Jennifer McLagan. She just brought out this book this year. It's called Bitter. It's very culinary focused, and she talks a lot about different recipes where you can use bitter as an ingredient. She uses coffee in her recipe for pork chops. And bitter, when you use it in a culinary sense, it can balance a lot of other flavors. For example, the fat of the pork chops. The two of these combined help to balance each other out, and it's going to help out your digestive system secreting the bile to digest the fat. Bitters can also be extracted very well in alcohol. So, taking some bitter roots, wormwood, gentian, dandelion, whatever you want to use, putting that in an alcohol solution. You can also add some aromatic plants, ginger, vanilla, whatever you want to use for the flavoring. You let that sit for a little while, strain it out. That's essentially the process for making bitters, what you get at a bar. The bar bitters, what you would put a few of in a Manhattan or whatever fancy drinks there are. I know they've got a few of those over there. You can look at them. So there's lots of different ways to get your bitters. You can get in alcohol, you can eat a salad, you can go out in your backyard, you can pick some leaves of things. You don't have to necessarily get it in your sweets, but if you want to surprise your family members and come up with something weird and bitter this holiday, you can make turnip ice cream. This is a recipe for turnip ice cream by Jennifer McLagan. Thank you.